Hey people, and welcome to my channel. I'm Mary, and today is Woo Woo Shit Wednesday, where every other Wednesday during spooky season, I share some of my woo woo and paranormal experiences with you. So today's paranormal story actually happened before I was born. My mom and dad decided to take a trip with my dad's best friend and his wife. And during this time, my mom was 3 months pregnant with me. So it was September 1993 when they went on this trip. Now, mind you, before this, my mom had never had a paranormal experience. She didn't believe in the paranormal. She didn't think any of that was possible. And my dad, I think, was a little more open to it. He had had some of his own experiences, but nothing like what they experienced when they went on this trip. So, like I said, it was September 1993, and my mom is 3 months pregnant with me. And the cabin that they rent is just outside of Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and it's secluded in the woods, way out in the sticks. And their friends met up with them that weekend. So it was just the four of them in this cabin. And this cabin was apparently a cabin that Annie Oakley frequented. And if you don't know who Annie Oakley is, she was a famous sharpshooter from the late 1800s. And she frequented this cabin. So the cabin was old and it had a lot of history to it. And my mom, when I was getting information from her about this story, was telling me like the furniture was old and the cabin just had like creepy vibes to it. But she thought nothing of it because, I mean, she grew up in a really old house in New York and had never had experiences there. So she didn't think anything about it. So they're only there for a weekend. And the first night that they're there, my mom's pregnant, she's tired. They had a long day of traveling. So she decides she's going to go to bed early. So my mom goes into the bedroom, and my dad and his friend and his friend's wife stay up and they're hanging out and talking. And while my mom's in the bedroom, she's getting ready for bed, she lays down, everything is quiet, and she's just, getting under the covers and she starts to drift off to sleep. And as she's drifting off to sleep, she feels a hand brush her head. So she kind of like jolts awake and thinks that my dad came in to check on her. Nobody's in the room. So that kind of like throws her off. She's a little scared, but she goes back to sleep. And later that night, my dad and his friends all decide that it's time to go to bed. So my dad comes into the room and he gets in bed. So my dad lays down to go to sleep next to my mom, and he's falling asleep, and all of a sudden he's woken up by what sounds like dragging noises outside. He said that it sounded like somebody was dragging like a big wooden box up the driveway. Now the cabin that they were staying in had a long driveway, and then there was a carport right off of the cabin. And he said it sounded like somebody just kept dragging a wooden box up and down that driveway all night. And my mom didn't hear any of this. My mom is asleep, doesn't notice anything, but my dad keeps getting out of bed to check what's going on because he thinks somebody's outside. And he keeps going out to check, nobody's out there, nothing's happening. His best friend and his wife are asleep. Everybody else is in the house. There's nobody outside. So my dad keeps getting woken up by this noise, and he doesn't get very much sleep the first night. So the next morning, my mom, who got plenty of sleep that night because she went to sleep before everybody else, gets up before everyone else. And she's going about her morning. She's making her breakfast. She's drinking her coffee. And then she decides she's going to go into the bathroom and start getting ready. So she goes in the bathroom and she closes the door and starts the process of getting ready. And as she's getting ready, she hears a woman scream outside of the bathroom door. My mom jumps, pulls the door open, freaking out that somebody's hurt, especially my dad's best friend's wife. And she opens the door to find nobody there. Nobody else in the house is awake. It's just her. So my mom is kind of panicking. She's freaking out because it was a blood-curdling scream. It sounded like they were standing outside of the door when it happened. she goes into the bedroom to like make sure that my dad is still in there, and she asks him, "Did you hear someone scream?" He says, "No, I've been asleep. I was up all night because I heard dragging noises in the driveway. Did you not hear the dragging noises in the driveway?" And my mom's like, "No, I didn't hear that at all." So then she proceeds to tell him about feeling the hand touch her head as she was falling asleep. And so they both kind of get up and they're like looking around the house trying to see if like somebody's messing with them, and they're thinking like maybe my dad's best friend and wife are pulling a prank on them. So they go to check on them, and they're both still asleep in their bed. So they go on through the rest of the day. They have their time with their friends. They're having a good time. And then that evening comes. The house had been quiet up the rest of the day. Nothing else happened. So this is the last night that they're staying there, and they are getting ready to go to bed, and this time they're going to bed together. My dad's best friend and wife have already gone to bed, and they're getting ready to go to bed, and they start hearing gunshots outside of the cabin. And it sounds like somebody is just shooting a gun right next to the cabin. So they run to see if somebody's out there. My mom's looking out the window, my dad's like looking out the door. Nobody's out there. And they're like, "What the hell? There's nobody here." So then they're thinking, well, maybe somebody's hunting in the woods. Maybe like maybe they just came by, but they decide to try to go back to sleep. So they get in their bed and they're trying to go back to sleep. And what happens again? More gunshots right outside of their bedroom window. So again, they run out, see if there's anybody there. Nobody's there. So after the night of hearing constant gunshots and being woken up all the time, my parents are very religious people. So they felt like they needed to do something to help the soul that they felt was stuck in the cabin. And again, they asked my dad's best friend and wife if they had heard anything, and they didn't hear anything. They were shocked that anything happened. They had a great stay and had great sleep. Nothing bothered them. So my parents decide that they are going to go to a Catholic church because my parents are Catholic, and they're going to speak to a priest about what they can do to help put this soul to rest. So they went to the church, and I believe the priest told them to take some holy water and then had them pray and light candles at the church. And then when they got back to the cabin, they said a prayer and spread holy water around the cabin to help put the souls to rest. But that's the story of my parents' paranormal experience while my mom was pregnant with me. So my mom to this day believes in the paranormal, probably more so than my dad does. And my dad has, had a lot of his own experiences with it, but he's more quick to brush it off. And my mom is more of the one who's like, "No, that happened." Her paranormal experiences really never let up after that because I was around. And where I go, that tends to happen. If you are into paranormal experiences and woo-woo shit, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.